Well, hello, welcome back to this podcast, Autoimmune Life, and with me, Louise Usher. I'm very aware that I talk mostly about my autoimmune difficulties. I don't know what to call them. I don't want to call them illnesses. And there's loads, isn't there? There's loads. I couldn't possibly cover everybody's thoughts and feelings. But in this podcast, I want us to address today how much you push yourself. Do you push yourself to the limit? Does your body scream at you afterwards and say, what the hell have you done? Why can't you slow down and listen to what I need? So that's this podcast for today. I hope you will stay tuned. I hope you will stay listening and maybe even share with me some of your thoughts and feelings at the end. Like you can write to me if you like. You can rate it. You just have to click. You don't have to sign up for anything or give your email. It's completely anonymous. I'd say give me 5 stars, but it's up to you. You can give me what you want. But I would say, solid 5 stars is a pretty good thing. Anyway, let's talk today about this because let me tell you for why. I've got to talk a little bit about travel in this podcast. Now, if you are somebody listening to this for the very first time on YouTube, hello to you. And for my regular podcast listeners on Spotify or any of the others, hello again. Thank you for coming back. It's lovely to have you. Now, I've made a decision. It's not on my regular YouTube channel, but there's another YouTube channel that I've got that's sat there simmering away for a little period of time. And I think that's called Autoimmune Diet and Me, the same as this podcast was, or something like that. And I've decided that I'm going to start putting these podcasts on there because I think there's a definite, it's not a video, by the way, it's just going to be audio on there. But I think there's a definite other audience there that might appreciate some of the things that we chat about. And if I can download the old ones and put them on YouTube, I will do. So if you are listening on YouTube, please do subscribe to this channel so that you can catch the other ones because we had some cracking ones. And if they're not here now or soon, in a couple of days, give me some time, then I would definitely recommend that you head over to this podcast on the other platforms because we have found we've had some great conversations, haven't we, Spotify listeners and other platform listeners? It's been brilliant. So, as always, welcome. I would love to have your thoughts and your feedback and your let me know how you're doing. I really genuinely care. Even though you might be thinking, but you don't know who I am in the hope that there's somebody there that's touched by something that I say or makes a difference to their lives in some way. I would hate for you to listen to however long this podcast is and think, oh God, well, that's 40 minutes of my life I'm not getting back. It's unlikely to be 40 minutes. It's probably not going to be that long at all. I would really like to think that it's making you feel heard and valued and welcomed into a community, especially if you're somebody that's finding things very difficult with your illness and you're stuck indoors, for example. That said, what I don't like to do, I'm very real. I will be talking on this podcast about poo, and I will be talking about, hang on, is that what you call it in the States? Because I know so many of you from across the way. Poop. Feces. I'm not frightened to be really open and discuss these things. Now, for a very long time, this was my area of research, so I kind of know a bit about it. And maybe my next podcast, actually, I'll talk about what I've learned during my time in research because that's a really interesting topic. But I think for some reason, I don't know why it's become funny or something to be kind of giggled at or shied away from, but that's not something that I do. Also, something that I don't do is to try and be unrealistic, but I do believe in sometimes the power of, I don't want to say positive thinking because my God, that sounds like really the wrong thing to say to a community of autoimmuners. It's not, you can't think away this illness, right? We know that. Because if we could, we'd have done that. But I do think what you can do is to acknowledge, accept, and make the best of as far as you can. However, as you've seen from the title of this podcast, do you push yourself too far? What inspired me to talk about this today, I will be telling you right now. So this week that we're just coming to the end of now, I have pushed myself too far. Who the hell do I think I was or am? So in case you're new here, I have Crohn's disease and ankylosing spondylitis are the main bits. There's others, and I think like most of us, you have sort of several autoimmune illnesses. And we also, by the way, in case you're new, we do welcome family members and friends and loved ones if you're trying to find out how we might be feeling. That's the theme, really. It's not like, oh, cure it by doing this. How are we feeling? You know, how do we cope with it? And I can only obviously speak for myself and the people that I've rubbed shoulders with in the period of time. This week, something incredible has happened, and it's really given me food for thought. So, a little bit of a backstory. Do you like stories? Buckle up. Grab your mint tea. I've got one here with fresh mint leaves that I've just literally bought this afternoon, because you'll find out why at the end of this story. Let's have a little sip of that. Are you with me? Have you got your cuppa? So, this week, quite randomly, I saw, there's somebody that I follow online, and in case you don't know a little bit about me, I've got quite an eclectic background in work-wise. So I left college and I left school and wanted to go to learn to be a dietitian, okay? And I don't know if that's the same everywhere in the world, but dietitian here generally works for the NHS. Generally is somebody that will help people who have got dietary needs. Now, what I didn't foresee is that when I went to university to do dietetics, which we'll fast forward, that's several years ahead, what I didn't foresee was that was very much for people who were I'm going to tar everyone with the same brush here. Like, all dietitians will be different in what they specialise in and what they do. But generally, it was very basic needs, like somebody might not be able to swallow, or, that for whatever reason they can't digest. It wasn't like a nutritionist, which is, you cannot put everybody in the same box. It's impossible. So forgive me for that, and please don't call me out for it. But say a nutritionist like myself, which is what I actually ended up going on to do, it wasn't those basic needs of can you swallow. It was more a case of you're low in B12. Why is that? Let's see if we can get to the bottom of that. Let's see if that's something to do with your villi breaking off because you have celiac that's undiagnosed, or things like that. And while dietitians can do that as well, there is a slight difference, and you'll kind of get me. But that said, I ended up doing the degree that was for dietetics, exactly the same, just was registered differently. So I'm a registered nutritionist, not a registered dietitian. But like I say, same qualification, pretty much same knowledge, just who we deal with can be different at times. All right. But anyway, I was to leave school, and they said to me, because I did a qualification at school, which was, I was the very last year to do CSEs and O-levels. And then the year after it changed to GCSEs, and those were just the awarding bodies and the name of the qualifications that we got. But my O-level, which was the slightly higher level, very slightly, was in food and nutrition. Now, some schools called this home economics. We did do cooking as well, but it was also, I found it fascinating that what you ate could affect your body, and stop rickets and scurvy and things like that. I was like, what? That's crazy. And now, of course, we all know it. It's vitamin D. You need your supplements in the winter and all of that stuff. We know this, like that's general knowledge. But anyway, I wanted to do that, and I said to them at school, this is what I want to do. And I was like, oh, there's no jobs. You won't get a job. We only need about 4,000 dietitians in the UK. This was in 1986. I was like, oh, hang on. Gave it a little thought for a minute. What am I going to do? So I was like, okay, I still wanted to work with food. I considered myself a pretty good cook. I really enjoyed my cookery classes within this food and nutrition qualification. So off I went to college to do catering and hospitality management. And I flipping loved it. I had a great career with that, right up until I had my twins, which were IVF babies. Again, I think that the infertility was brought on by my endometriosis, which has gone now because I had early menopause. Anyway, so right up until then, I had an amazing career. So I was only 17 when, it's a song there, isn't there? Are you singing it now? It's at least in your head for the rest of the day. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. So I went off to work in the holiday world, in holiday industries in the UK, and I had a lot of experience with operations management going forwards with. I was working for big events, like you've heard of Wembley. Like everyone's heard of Wembley. So there was the FA Cup final. I worked at the Grand National, which is horses. I worked at football clubs and stadiums. I worked at Twickenham, which was rugby, and lots of hotels in between times, doing stuff like wedding planning or duty manager, all that sort of stuff. And I had a great career and I loved it, absolutely loved it. And that's kind of gone full circle because I couldn't do that job while I was bringing up my twins because one, they were two. There was two of them and there was one of me. Another story for another time, but basically my husband decided he didn't want to stick around and we became a single parent family. Which with hindsight, you know what, it was all right. Sounds a lot of people are like, how did you do that? Well, I did it with a pretty good smile on my face actually, because they were great, and it wasn't easy. I didn't think it was going to be easy, but anyway, another story for another time. And so then what happened, we started, as they got a little bit older, and we started to do our typical family holidays, by which time I was on YouTube because I'd found out about the law of attraction. Here's my book on the bookshelf there, pointing out to me, read a bit from me, but yeah, we'll do that another time. So I found out about law of attraction, started YouTube, went on YouTube, was doing that, and then because I was just like, oh, everyone's vlogging everything, I vlogged our holiday. Put it on YouTube and it did really, really well. And then for some reason or other, I seemed to become a bit of an expert in Egypt particularly. And I was like, oh, I need to go back and do some more of that. That was really good. Then YouTube started paying me and it became a bit of a thing. And then we became a bit of a creator, I guess, in a way. So for a long time now, this has been bubbling away. And I've been trying to make that into the whole autoimmune life living. Like, how do you go away? Is anybody going to listen to your needs? Are you going to be looked after? And that was a path that I pursued for quite a long period of time, and I was hoping to sort of make that into my research, but that wasn't meant to be. So that was kind of where I was at. And then last week, that's kind of where I was at. So I'm obviously a writer, and that has come because I feel I've been guided with that. I'm still very much into my whole manifestation, law of attraction stuff, and I feel I've been guided to sit down and write because it gives me the flexibility to look after my illness, which keeps coming up, biting me on the bum. Oh, my candle's going out. Sorry, side note there. There we are. I just moved it, got a little bit of wax out, and there we are. It's a bit like us with our illness. Sometimes you're like, you just need to move a bit. Oh no, now the wick's too big. The flame's going mad. Oh no, it's calming down. Just like your insides, right? Just like your autoimmunity. Anyway, so it's fine. Candle's fine. Don't worry. So then I was like, right, I need to make more of this travel. But until you're a big name in travel, it costs money. So then I'm like, oh God, do I need to write more books to sell more books? Is it chicken and egg? Do I need to go away more? What do I need to do? And bearing in mind the actual sort of like long-term potential of doing that with AS, Ankylosing spondylitis, which is I'm told it's going to get worse. Today I am in quite a lot of pain, not going to lie. You'll find out why. This story. So it was bubbling away that like I should do some more with this, and I've become an affiliate marketer as well for that, so I can write stories about my experiences of travel and put them on my blog and obviously YouTube and all these things, and bring in a little bit of money here and there, and that was always the hope and the plan. Anyway, I probably wouldn't have brought this story to this podcast if I hadn't ended up having the week that I've had. But on Sunday night, somebody that I follow who's they're kind of an events company. They put on events for travel creators, which my next 3 books, I've got one coming out the 25th of November. Go and get yourself over to Amazon, just search my name, Louise Usher. It will be out probably if you're listening to this later in the day. I've got 3 books coming out, which kind of are standalone but have potential to be considered part of a series. And they are about my experiences while I was travelling. And I was like, yeah, let's go to this travel event, see what that's all about. I turned up on my own. I got there, it's central London. I got there, drove as far as I could get into London, because if you're somebody with IBD or even IBS, or I say even IBS because the symptoms can be very similar. I know it's different illness. But, anything like that, or anything. You can hear that candle, can't you? Anything like that, I'm nervous if I haven't got my car. I like to have my car near me, so I've got to change of clothes, all the other things that, So I drove as far as I could, then I hopped on a little tube, and my anxiety was good. Normally I get really anxious about such things. It was good. And somebody offered me their seat, and I was like, oh no. Is that because I'm a lady, or is that because I look over 50? My friends don't think I look over 50. They're always shocked when I tell them that. That's nice of them, isn't it? We all want friends like that. So I was on the tube, got to this event, and I don't know what came over me or possessed me. This would not normally be me. I would have been anxious, probably turned up and probably walked away again. But I turned up, and there was this incredible little train thing inside this bar. And it was all done out with graffiti, and it was just incredible. And anyway, it was a cloakroom, so I was hanging my jacket in there. And there was no glass in the windows, and I was looking out to sort of assess the room and to kind of see what's going on, and where's the toilets, first of all, as always. And then, where's the room? And this couple came in. I wonder if they're listening. Hi, guys, if you are, I won't name you. Probably should, shouldn't I? Give them a bit more of an audience. But anyway, this couple came in. And I sort of giggled to myself, and I was like, oh, sorry, I look like a stalker. I'm just kind of, scoping the room because I come on my own. And they was like, come with us. And we chatted at the bar, and they were flipping lovely. Really my type of people. Easy, funny, both good looking. We had a great conversation. Anyway, they were talking about, it's okay for me to say it, I can say it. Oh yeah, well, this event's on Sunday night this week because it's WTM week. And I was like, WTM week? And they was like, yeah, WTM. And I was more like WTF or whatever, more like. Anyway, didn't know what that was. It stands for World Travel Market. And let me tell you, I ended up going. I booked myself a ticket. My daughter came as well because she also does travel vlogs. And we went to a massive place called the Excel Centre in London. It's huge. It's like stadiums and stadiums. To walk one into the other at speed, it takes 15 minutes, to give you an idea. It's flipping huge. And it was full. I turned up. It was like being in Disneyland, but of the travel world. And these stalls were top end, luxury, incredible. Oh my God, it was so amazing. And the first day I was there on my own, I was beaming from ear to ear. And then I saw, because my badge said media, which was weird to me, but what's a podcast? It's media, isn't it? It's exactly what I do. And I was like, oh, okay then. And there was something called the media centre. So I just had to show my badge. In I went. Tea and coffee was free. And I don't mean that dodgy coffee you pour out yourself. There was a barista there. And I was like, good morning. I see you've got some caramel there. Please, may I have a little coffee with some caramel? Oh, yes, she said. You know what's going to come next, don't you? So, I had 3 days of this. I covered 17,000 steps. I covered 10,000 steps. I covered 9,000 steps. I struggled with pain like I couldn't sleep. My head was buzzing because I was so excited. My body was like, you're not up to this. And my head was like, yeah, I am. I want to do it. I want to do all the things. I want to see the things. I want to be part of this. It was incredible. And there was hotels upon hotels wanting to speak to me, inviting me to their hotel to go and stay. As a press trip thing, to write about them, to make films about them. I was bowled over, and I'm not joking when I say I've got 75 emails to send on Monday morning. Okay? It was insane. And, of course, I'm gluten-free. Where was the food for gluten-free? Nowhere to be seen. What was on offer? Oh, there's a gluten-free mince pie in Costa's. And Costa's is coffee shop. So I was like, okay, I need something. So first day I went and got that. Doesn't bode well with me. Gluten-free food, yeah, it's gluten-free, but it's still really starchy. And the autoimmune diet is like, don't do the starch. Don't do that. Now, even though I know these things, there are times when you're so famished, and I was running on adrenaline, obviously, which was keeping the pain at bay and all the rest of it. But anyway, you hear what I'm saying. You hear where this is going. I wasn't eating autoimmune protocol as I should have been for this past week. Yesterday, I was very excited to sit down to meet with my friend to continue writing and editing the book that's coming out on the 25th of November. Oh my God, I've really claimed that now. It's got to happen. And we sat down, we had coffee, and then she had to go. And I was like, let me just go loo before you go. Okay. Went to the loo, came back, and I was like, this isn't good. The tummy was doing its thing, blah, blah, blah. So, oh no, better go home. Didn't manage to make it home. You know how it is. It was just a nightmare. Got home. Did all the things you have to do. Got into bed. Ankle. Ankle is smarting. Ankle is swelling. Fingers, they're going. Wrists. Crap. What the hell? I just had done too much. And I don't believe that's a fitness thing or an endurance thing, because I do look after myself as best I can. But I think when you're eating all the right things and you're using like maybe gym equipment, and I'm not only saying I only ever walk on a treadmill, like it's good to walk outside in nature and stuff like that, of course. But when it's more, I don't know, when you're just standing in one position, I don't think we're designed to do that as human beings, are we? Just stand there and talk to a hotelier for X amount of time. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So now I'm in a lot of pain. I am sitting on my chair with my mint tea, hoping I can eat something for my dinner, which is going to be autoimmune protocol and pull it back. Now, I know this might take me about 3 days, but it's woken me up to think, I know what I want to do. I know how I want to do it. I know what I want my income levels to look like to maintain, paying the bills and things like that. And I know that for me, my experience in travel, coupled with my nutritional knowledge, could be really flipping useful for somebody. So I want to make that work, I want to make it do it. But there's got to be a level where you get sensible and not get so excited and not be, I'm going to blow that candle out, and not be pushing yourself to such a level where you're hurting yourself. You've got to respect what this is. You've got to respect that you can do your absolute best to be a fighter and to get on top of things. And I'm saying this, it's note to self. This is not me preaching to you. This is note to self. I know all these things and I've cocked up and I'm in so much pain, and I don't know how long it's going to take me for this ankle to recover. But it's sore. It feels like I've sprained it. And could that just be overuse? Could be. So when you're feeling as though you're a little bit broken, sometimes it just happens for no reason. They're the bits that worry me, is when you're like, I know my triggers. I know how I deal with this. What is this? Then, yeah. It's when that just comes and bites you on the bum. There will be some reason. It won't be for no reason, but you might not know what that is. So on that note, I am going to sort my life out today from my desk while I'm trying to recover. And I will send you all of the love in the world. I probably in the next podcast episode, I may talk a little bit about the autoimmune protocol diet and get back to the monosaccharides and how that works for me and what my thoughts and feelings are on that, because I haven't done that in a while and I think it would be really good to revisit that. So if that's something that you want to hear more about from a registered nutritionist who is completely self-employed now, I'm not attached to the university right now because they're all clawing back their hours, which is a bit naff, but Also gives me the opportunity to, like I say, look after myself better. Haha, she says, not this week. And get that book out and get the other 2 books out. And I'm going to go for it. I would love you to follow along on this. And if you wanted to head over to that YouTube channel, go find me. I will try and leave links below in the show notes. But I just wanted to record this because I'm switching over to a brand new iPhone. And I do record this with my microphone in my iPhone. And I want to... It's got a new flipping thing, hasn't it? Have you seen? They've got a new fitting in the end. I'm like, what are you doing that for? Got to change everything now. So just before I get myself in a tizwas about that, I thought I would just record this next podcast. Probably the next one might come to you from Sharm el Sheikh in Egypt. I'm going to be going back there again. I've got a gazillion hotels to film while I'm out there. Hopefully I'll feel better than I do now. And yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get one more to you in that period of time. But it's going to be, I probably will actually. I'll talk to you about the book in the next one because it's really interesting to think that you can read somebody's experience of their life with autoimmune and how you might be able to apply some things to your life to improve yours. But like I say, I don't want it to be a tragic thing, but let's be real, we have to look after ourselves, don't we? So all the love from me to you, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye for now.